be on your knees like usual. So a blanket would be really helpful if you want to pad your knees. And let's start in a child's pose. So take a child's pose that has wide knees and big toes touching. And that's kind of like a framework. You're going to set it up so that you're comfortable in your child's pose. It's just a little bit of a suggested guide, we'll put it that way. And then you can walk your hands forward and lengthen yourself out. And as you're crawling your hands forward, give yourself a little bit of waggling and shimmying from side to side so you can start to make your hips heavy back and down toward your heels. And that's sort of like the anchor for the pose. And from that reaching and weightiness, try to reach the hands further forward to try to land in a space where you found optimal length and you can rest your forehead down to the mat. If for whatever reason that doesn't work, you have blocks nearby. You can take one, you can slide under your forehead to raise the ground up to you. Take a few deep rounds of breath. It might be that you're pulling the air in through the nostrils and opening the mouth and pawing it out. And start to narrow the back of your throat. And instead of pulling the air in through your nostrils, pull the air in from the back of the throat. So the nostrils are really just the pathway for the breath. And that same feeling of the ha with the open mouth, to keep the lips sealed. Shift your focus to the trunk and notice how you can become more expansive in all directions, the full circumference of the rib cage. Visualize the lungs filling to such an extent that they're pressing into the underside of your ribs and pressing the ribs outward. Allow this to feel welcoming. As if you're welcoming yourself home into your own body. Could very likely be the first moment in your day that you've paid attention to the sound of your breath. Start walking your hands off to the right. Take the left hand and stack it on top of the right. And move your left hip crease back and forth. feel how you might be able to breathe a little bit more into that left side body. Left lung can fill even more than you did when the shape was more symmetrical. Start to walk the shape back in through where you started, and then slowly walking it off in the other direction so that your hands are walking off to the left, and you're reaching with your right hand and stacking it on top of the left. The right hip crease now is reaching back. Again, feel how the right side body is more free to open. The right lung has more freedom to become expansive. Walk the hands back through your starting shape in child's pose. Press your hands firmly into the floor. Start to lift your hips and round through your spine. And narrow in the knees so they land underneath each hip, and walk your hands back a bit so the wrists land under the shoulders. Press the tops of your feet firmly into the floor. And as you breathe in, starting with the tailbone, tip the tailbone up to ripple through your spine into a cow-shaped pose. So the top of the pelvis is tipping down toward the floor, the navel's dropping down toward the floor, the ribs are pressing down toward the floor, then the chest starts to lift, and the chin starts to lift, and the shoulder blades are coming toward each other, and your chest is melting through the shoulders. Then starting at your tailbone, as you exhale, you'll tip the tailbone under, and you'll start articulating into cat pose, working your way through low back, up through mid back, up through upper back, and the chin tucking toward the chest, and your shoulders might shift a little forward, so you're just adding in a little wrist extension, and then you'll start shifting back into cow pose with the tailbone tipping up. Ripple through the spine, nice and slow, just noticing what little spots might feel a little more stuck. Chest melting through the shoulders, the shoulder blades coming together, chest lifting, the chin lifting. Again, into cat, starting the tailbone, you tuck it under, you're pressing the tops of your feet into the ground as you ripple through your spine. The shoulder blades broaden, the space between the shoulder blades lift up toward your ceiling, the chin dropping toward the chest, the shoulders shifting a bit forward, maybe they're flirting with being over your nails, and then you'll work this way through cow and cat, 3 more rounds. Slower, the better, observing, making mental note of the sensations of where you might be holding tension. Working in such a way that you're sharpening your listening skills, listening carefully to what the body has to tell you in its infinite knowledge. Land in your starting position of tabletop and turn your right fingertips to face back toward your right knee. Use the hips to shift the tabletop back a little bit so you feel wrist extension in that right wrist. So it's like the fingers can come closer to the top of your forearm, and just rocking out of that and rocking a little bit forward, and then taking a circle, using the hips to circle around the full circumference of that wrist. Take a circling around in each direction. Pause back with the shoulder right over the wrist, taking a breath. And as you breathe out, again, shift the hips back. Just challenging your wrist extension, trying to keep the heel of your hand on the floor. And then rock it forward again and take your circles starting with the opposite direction first than you did before. So you may have automatically done clockwise the first time and now go counterclockwise first. Or perhaps for you it was the other way around. And then you switch the direction of that circle. And pausing with the shoulder over the wrist one more time, you'll take a breath in, you pull in your belly. As you breathe out, you shift your hips back so the shoulder is flirting with being over your fingernails, but you're not forcing it in that direction. You're trying to keep the heel of your hand down. You're noticing if you're feeling anything that doesn't feel right in the front of that wrist, and you'll back off a little bit if it's not feeling right. And then you'll back off and you'll rock it forward. And one more time, you'll take a circle in one direction. And then a circle in the other direction. Pause and turn your fingertips to face forward. Take a little waggle, so shift yourself from side to side and let one hand lift and then the other hand lift, and pause. And turn the fingertips of the same hand back to face your knee, but instead of the palm facing down, have the back of your hand facing the floor. Spread your fingers well, take a breath in, pull in your belly, and as you breathe out, moving your hips back so the shoulder can move back, your elbows straight. You're trying to keep the back of your hand fully on the floor, so you're just observing your wrist flexion. And then rock it a bit forward. Take a circle. Take the circle in the opposite direction. Pause with the shoulder over the wrist, take a breath in, and rock it back as you breathe out. Rock slightly forward. Turn that hand again, so you're back where you started. The palms facing down, the fingertips are facing forward. Take a little waggle from one hand to the other. And then turn your left fingertips to face back toward your left knee. Pull in your belly, take a breath. And as you breathe out, shift with your hips, shoulder back, trying to keep the heel of your left hand on the floor. Back up off of that, rock a little bit forward, and then take a circle around that wrist. Try to get the full circumference. Switch that circle in the other direction. Pause with the shoulder over the wrist, take a breath in, pull in your belly, breathe out, move your hips, the shoulder moves back. Maybe it's flirting with being over your fingernails. You're trying to keep the heel of your hand on the floor. And then you'll rock it forward and you'll start with the opposite circle. So trying to work in the other direction than you did the first time you went round. Take the opposite circle of that. Pause, take a breath in, and rock it back as you breathe out. Again, you're being mindful if you're feeling any pain or discomfort in the front of that wrist, in that closed part of the joint. You'll back off out of that, whatever amount you need to, and then you'll rock it forward. And one last time in this direction, you circle around the circumference of that wrist, switching the direction. Pause and breathe in. Go ahead and turn the hands so the fingertips are facing forward. Take a little waggle. So you're shifting from side to side, shifting weight from one hand to the other. And then you'll pause and same side in wrist flexion. You're going to turn the fingertips to face your knee, but it's the back of the hand that's on the floor. Fingers are spread really well. Take a breath and use your hips and rock it back. That's in the wrist flexion. And then back it off. Take a circle. And a circle in the opposite direction. Good. Pause, turn your palm down to face the floor. The fingertips are facing forward. Once again, tuck your toes. Shift your hips back toward your heels. Rise yourself up into a downward facing dog. Take a little bend in your knees and reach your hips up and back. Keep that little bend in your knees. Lift the undersides of your upper arms a little bit forward. Broaden the inner shoulders away from the sides of the neck. At the very root of your thigh bones, so up in where they insert into your pelvis. Press that space up and back. And make your heels heavier toward the floor. They don't need to touch, but they're reaching in that direction. Shoulders are broad, your legs are strong, the arms are strong. Take a cycle of breath. With your breath in, tap your knees down to the floor. Keep your toes tucked. Sit your hips onto your heels. Come up so your trunk is upright. You're sitting on your heels. You're going to reach your arms up in line with your ears. Reach your fingertips up toward the ceiling. Let the shoulders elevate. Let your shoulder blades slide up. Rise up so you're standing on your shins. Make your tailbone a little bit heavier down toward the backs of your knees and the pubic bone zipping up toward your navel and your front ribs are hugging in. Taking a breath. As you breathe out, bend your elbows in a field goal position, but imagine resistance as if someone were pushing their hands up into the undersides of your upper arms. As you breathe in, from the tips of your elbows to your fingertips in a straight line, shift that back in space so that you're externally rotating at your shoulder joints, and then add back bend. So let your spine extend, lift your chest, lift your gaze. Take a breath in, lift your chest up. And as you breathe out, you're going to do the exact opposite of that. You're going to rise up. You're going to turn. The elbows are going to stay in line, but you're going to lower the forearms so they become parallel to the floor. Your wrists are straight. Your fingers are energetic. And then the fingers are going to start to face down toward the floor. So you're internally rotating your shoulder joints. And then you're going to add in spinal flexion and get round. As you breathe in, rise yourself up. Raise the arms so that the forearms are parallel to the floor and the palms are facing the floor. Pull in your belly, chest is broad, the shoulder heads are down. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, reach your hands forward out in front of you and touch index fingers to thumbs like you're making a little diamond. Bend your elbows and move them straight back and have your shoulder blades sliding toward each other. And then from knees to the top of your head, lean back. Rise yourself back up again as you breathe in. Straighten out your elbows, reach forward, touch thumbs and index fingers. As you breathe out, bend your elbows, pinch your shoulder blades together, lean back. Rise up, breathe in, reach forward, touch fingers, breathe out, bend your elbows straight back, lean back. On your breath in, rise back up again, straighten out your elbows, reaching them, your arms out wide in a big T shape. Make fists. And simultaneously, I'm going to do this kind of corkscrew action. Your right shoulder is going to externally rotate as your left shoulder internally rotates. You're going to look toward your right hand. You're going to do the opposite. You're going to start to internally rotate the right shoulder and externally rotate the left shoulder and look toward your left hand. One more time to the right, that corkscrew action. You're going to look toward that right hand. Now you're going to keep the arms exactly as they are. We're going to look forward. You're going to reach your right arm up in line with your ear, and you're going to reach your left arm back. Your fists are really strong. You're going to squeeze them. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to bend your elbows into a Gomukhasana shape. You're going to keep the fists. So the back of your left hand's on your back. Back of your right hand is facing back. You're going to move your fists toward each other. You're not going to worry about clasping your hands. You're going to take a breath in. You're going to lift your chin. And as you breathe out, you're going to lunge your right foot forward and let your pelvis come forward. Untuck your back toes. Press the top of your foot into the floor. And as you breathe in, lift your chest up. Lean your head back into your right forearm. As you breathe out, shift your hips back slowly. You're going to flex your right foot like the toes could kiss your shin. You're going to straighten your right knee. You're going to hinge at your hips. So you're going to hinge forward. So it's an Ardha Hanumanasana without your hands. Breathe in, bend into your right knee. Let your pelvis come forward. Lift your chest. Keep the arms just like they are. Your head is leaning back into your right forearm. Breathe out, shift your hips back, straighten your right knee, flexing your toes, hinging at your hips. Breathe in, one more like that, bend, lift the chest. Breathe out, shift it back, belly's firm, ribs are in, you're hinging at your hips. With your breath in, come upright, but this time not Anjaneyasana. You're gonna stop on your knees right over the ankle. Keep the arms. Twist your upper body to the right. And then you'll open your arms in a big T shape. So you're in an open arm twist, and you might look back toward your right thumb if that's okay for your neck. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, tip forward, land your left hand down on the floor into your shoulder, reach your right arm over your ear, open up that palm. Reach that right arm over your ear really well and move your right hip crease back in space and try to wrap your outer right hip like a spiral down and under toward your right sitting bone. Take one more big breath in right here. And as you breathe out, lower your right hand down to the floor and come back into a table. Slide your right foot out to the right. Step your left foot all the way back with a straight knee and come up into a version of side plank with your right knee on the floor. Left arm's reaching up toward the ceiling and then over the ear. With your breath in, rise yourself up into a T shape. Reach your arms wide, lift the sides of your waist. And as you breathe out, take a side bend, reaching the right arm over your ear. On your inhalation, rise yourself back up again. On your exhalation, is going to be familiar for those of us who were with me yesterday. You're going to bring your left shin to meet your right shin. So you're standing on your shins. You're going to sit down onto your heels. And you're going to twist to the right and reach your hands forward and then down to the floor. And you're going to lower your outer right hip down onto the ground and then come down onto your forearms. Stack your right knee, your left knee on top of your right knee. Take your left hand behind your skull and you're pressing your right forearm really firmly down into the floor. Sharpen your feet, so you're going to flex them. With your breath in, you're going to turn your left elbow up toward the ceiling. Your chest is turning up toward the ceiling. You're going to open up your left knee off the right knee. And then lastly, you're going to lift your butt up off the floor and make your pelvis go forward and peel your chest more open. Look up, take a breath. As you breathe out, slowly sit yourself back down. Tap the floor with your left elbow. On your inhale, peel yourself back open again. Pelvis moves forward, tailbones reaching toward the backs of your knees. Exhale, slowly bring it down, tap. Just one more, breathe in, open up. Breathe out, lower it down. Come into a forearm plank. Your elbows under your shoulders, you can interlace your hands. Tailbones reaching toward your heels, your belly's firm, your ribs are in. And with your breath in, you use your toes and you rock your chest forward over your thumbs. As you breathe out, rock it back. Two more, breathe in. Breathe out. One more, breathe in, rock it forward. Breathe out, rock it back. Tap your knees down to the floor. Come onto your hands, tuck your toes, walk it back and sit down on your heels. Reach your arms up in line with your ears. Reach your fingertips up toward the ceiling. Let your shoulder blades slide up your back. Your elbows are straight. On your breath in, come up onto your shins. On your breath out, bend your elbows in that field goal shape. But you're always imagining resistance. You're pressing down, imagining hands are pressing up. On your breath in, from elbows to fingertips with straight wrists, you shift back and then add the chest lifting, add that back bend, look up. As you breathe out, the opposite, you rise up, you're internally rotating at your shoulders, the forearms are gonna be parallel to the floor for a moment, and then they lower down, your fingertips are pointing down, and then you start to add spinal flexion and you round as you reach your hands back. Rise yourself back up again, parallel your forearms to the floor, the palms are facing down, breathe in. Reach your arms forward and touch index fingers to thumbs. As you breathe out, bend your elbows straight back, pinch your shoulder blades together and lean it back. On your inhale, rise up, straighten your elbows, reach forward, tap. As you breathe out, bend your elbows straight back, lean it back. Rise up, inhale, straighten out the elbows, tap. On your exhalation, bend your elbows, lean it back. Rise yourself back up again. Open out your arms into a big T, make fists. That corkscrew action that we did before, the left shoulder's gonna externally rotate while your right shoulder internally rotates and you look toward your left hand. Switch sides of the corkscrew. So the right shoulder's gonna externally rotate while the left shoulder internally rotates and you look toward your right hand. One more time to your left. Keep the arm set up, but turn your gaze forward. Reach your left arm forward, don't lose the external rotation. Reach your right arm back, don't lose the internal rotation. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bend your elbows into that same version of Gomukhasana, second side. So now the back of your right hand's on your back of your left hand's facing behind you. You're gonna lift your chest, you're gonna look up, you're gonna slide your fists toward each other, take a breath in, your belly's firm, your ribs are in. And as you breathe out, you'll lunge your left foot forward. Let your pelvis move forward. Untuck your back toes, press the top of that foot firmly to the floor and lift the chest up. Press your head back into your left forearm, take a breath in. As you breathe out, the hips shift back, your left leg straightens, your toes flex toward your left shin, you hinge at your hips. Breathe in, bend into the knee, lift the chest. Breathe out, shift it back, flex the toes toward your shin, hinge. One more like that, breathe in. And breathe it out. On this breath in, bend into the front knee, stop when the knee's right over its ankle. Belly's firm, the legs are hugging toward each other, breathe in. As you breathe out, twist to your left. Open the arms in a big T shape. Take a breath in, maybe looking toward your left hand. And as you breathe out, tip forward, land your right hand under your shoulder. Sweep the top arm over your ear. Outer left hip is wrapping down and under toward your sitting bone. The left hip crease is reaching back. Your legs are strong. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, lower your left hand down to the floor and come to a tabletop. Swing your left foot out to the left, straighten out your right knee, ground the heel. The second side of that version of side plank with your left knee on the floor, right arm up. Right arm over your ear. Take a breath in, fill up. As you breathe out, rise up into a T. Inhale, lift the sides of your waist. Exhale. Reaching the left arm over your left ear in that side bend. On your breath in, rise yourself back up to a T. As you breathe out, match your right shin to your left shin. Sit down onto your heels. Twist to the left, reaching forward. Land your hands down to the floor. And then shift so it's outer left hip onto the floor. Your knees are stacked. Come down onto your forearms. A little deeper of a twist. Left forearm is going to drive through the floor. Right hand comes behind your skull. Your knees are stacked. Your feet are sharp. With your breath in, start to open the elbow up toward the ceiling, peeling open the chest. Opening the right knee off of the left knee, and then lift your butt and bring your pelvis forward, lifting out of that bottom shoulder. As you exhale, close that all back up again, tap the floor with your right elbow. As you breathe in one smooth move, you open up, pelvis is forward, chest is open. Exhale, lower it down and tap. One more, just like that, big breath in. You got it, big breath out, close it up and tap. Come into forearm plank. Rock your chest forward with your breath in. Use your feet. Rock it back as you breathe out. Rock it forward as you breathe in. Rock it back as you breathe out. One more. Rock it forward. Rock it back. Good. Tap your knees to the floor. Come up into downward facing dog. Take a breath in your down dog. And a breath out in your down dog. With your breath in, bend the knees and look forward. And on the bottom of your exhalation, hop or step your feet to your hands. With your breath in, lift halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. With your breath out, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. With your breath in, pressing your feet to the floor, Urdhva Hastasana, rise up, reach up. The feet are your anchor, the hands are your guide to get taller. On your exhale, Tadasana. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, fold it. Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, step your left foot back. Breathe in, reach your chest forward if you want your blocks for Parsvottanasana. Breathe out, straighten out your right knee in a pyramid pose. Take a cycle of breath, hugging your legs toward each other. With your next breath in, bend into your front knee. With your breath out, step it back into plank pose. With your breath in, rock a bit forward. With your breath out, bend your elbows and lower yourself all the way to the floor. Point your toes. With your breath in, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. With your breath out, lower your chest to the floor. Tuck your toes. On your breath in, you can push up to a plank pose. You can come through a table. Your breath out, down dog. Bring your feet together to touch. Bend your knees, inhale, look forward. Bottom of your exhalation, hop your feet forward between your hands. Sit down, boat pose. You have bent knees, turn your palms to face up, lift your chest, take a breath. As you breathe out, slowly lower about halfway, your knees might straighten out. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, land yourself down to the floor. Bend your knees like you're in chair, but you're on the floor. Your knees are together, your ankles are together, your feet are flexed. Reach your arms up. Extend at the wrists so the palms are facing the ceiling, your elbows are straight. You're going to squeeze your heels toward your butt. You're going to bring your knees toward your chest. And then you're going to twist your upper body to the right. You're going to move your knees a little bit to the left. So you're balancing more or less on your left buttock. With your breath in, start to rise up, lift your head up off the floor. Curl a bit, let your spine flex, and touch the outer side of your right thigh with your left upper arm. Press those spaces together. Try to slide your arm a little higher. Maybe you're flirting with your knee being closer to your armpit or your outer thigh being closer to your armpit. Take a breath in here. And as you breathe out, unwind out of that, land your back down to the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Rock back, rock up. Land your hands, and maybe you hop back chaturanga. Maybe you step back. Upward facing. And a downward facing. Take a cycle of breath. With your breath in, bend your knees, look forward. Wait for the bottom of your exhalation. And then hop, empty, feet to your hands. Take a breath in, lift halfway. With your breath out, fold. Your inhalation, pressing your feet into the floor, rise up, to stand, reach up, get tall. Tadasana, exhale. Reach up, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. With the in-breath, lift halfway. With the out-breath, step your right foot back. You're bending your front knee, your chest is reaching forward. You might reach for your blocks for Parsvottanasana. And as you exhale, straighten out your left knee in Parsvottanasana or pyramid. Take a cycle of breath, hugging your legs toward each other. The next breath in, bend into the front knee. Plant your hands to the floor. Breathing out to plank pose. Rock a bit forward, inhale. Lower all the way down to the floor, exhale. Bhujangasana, cobra pose, point your toes, lift your chest. Lower your chest back down to the floor as you exhale. Tuck your toes. You're either coming up through table or you're pushing straight up to plank with a strong breath in. Down dog on your breath out. Bring your feet in together to touch. Taking a breath, bend your knees, look forward. The bottom of your exhalation, hop your feet to your hands. Squat down, sit, boat. Your knees might be bent. Take a breath in, lift your chest. Lower yourself down about halfway. Your legs might straighten out. Land onto the floor. Bend your knees, step your feet to the ground. Lift your shins like you're in a chair on your back. Reach your arms up. Bend your wrists in extension so the palms are facing up and you're trying to bring your fingers toward your forearms. Your elbows are straight. Squeeze your heels toward your butt. Bring your knees toward your chest. Taking a breath. Twist your upper body to the left. Move your knees a bit to the right. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, start to lift up. Start to curl up. Lift your head off the floor. You're rounding your back. You're reaching. You're trying to contact your outer right upper arm to your outer left thigh and try to slide up a bit more. Maybe your right armpit is flirting with your knee or your outer thigh. Maybe you're at a place where your left shoulder blade can even lift off the floor. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lower yourself back down to the floor. Cross your left ankle over the right ankle. Rock back. Rock up. Maybe it's straight to chaturanga. Maybe you're stepping back to plank and then lowering. Upward facing. Downward facing. Take a cycle of breath. With your breath in, bend your knees, look forward. On the bottom of your exhale, hop your feet to your hands or step your feet to your hands. Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, fold it. Press your feet to the floor. Breathe in, stand up, reach up. Breathe out, Tadasana. Reach up, inhale. Fold it, exhale. Lift halfway, inhale. Plant your hands. Chaturanga, you might hop, you might step, you might skip it all together. Upward facing dog with a big breath in. Downward facing dog on a big breath out. On your in-breath, slide it forward to plank pose. Exhale your way down to the floor. Bring your legs together and point your toes. Reach your arms back, turn your palms down. Rise up into Shalabhasana. Chest lifts, legs lift. Palms are facing the floor, shoulder blades are coming together. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, land yourself down with your hands outside your ribs, tuck your toes. Same choices either through a table or through a plank pose with your breath in. And into down dog on your breath out. Step your right foot forward inside of your right thumb. Ground your back heel. Windmill your way up into a warrior two. Reach your arms out wide. Bend deeply into that right knee. Take a breath. And as you breathe out, reverse it. Taking a breath here, fill. As you breathe out, rise it back up again. Reach your left arm forward. Flip your left heel up. Reach your left hand way forward. Make a fist. We were doing these yesterday as well. Pull back like you're pulling back on a bow. That's on a bowstring that's really tense. You're pulling back. You're going to bend your left elbow. You're going to reach back at the left elbow. You're going to ground your back heel. And then you're going to reverse it in that shape. Bring it upright again. Reach your left arm forward. Flip your left heel up. Reach. Make a fist. Pull it back. Bend the elbow. Reach back. Tip it back. One more, just like that. Come upright. Reach your left arm forward. Flip your left heel up. Reach. Make a fist. Pull back. Ground your back heel. And reverse it. Stay there for a breath in. And as you breathe out, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Frame your front foot. Breathe in. As you breathe out, walk your hands down the long edge of your mat. Turning your feet as you go. Keep walking around so you're framing your left foot. Flip your right heel up. Reach your right arm forward in line with your ear. Reach your left arm back in line with your hip. Keep your belly firmly pulling in. Take a breath. Bend your right knee. As you breathe out, right knee into your chest. Stand up. Pull back with your right hand. Bend your elbow and open arm twist to your right. Reach. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, the exact opposite. You're going to unwind all that. You're going to turn to face forward. You're going to switch your hands. You're going to bend your left knee. You're going to step your right foot back really lightly. Land it. Take a breath. Two more, that same transition. So you exhale, knee into your chest. Pull the arms to come into the twist. Carefully devolve that twist. Step it back. One more. Knee to chest. Pull like you're pulling into that bowstring. Open the arms and then slowly stepping it back. Take a breath in right here. As you breathe out, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, walk your hands up the long edge of your mat, all the way forward. Step back into down dog. Step your feet about halfway up your mat. Bring them together. Squat yourself down. Feet are together, knees are together. Your hands will stay in the orientation that they're facing the short edge of your mat, but pivot your knees to the left. Right, so this is similar to what we're doing at the beginning when our forearms were down, that deeper twist. Hands, though, are on the ground, and you're on the ball mounds of your feet. Lift your heels. Lift your butt. So you're starting from a higher position, and then start to shift your shoulders forward. So they're starting to come over your fingernails. And then you'll bend your elbows. You're going to make a little plateau for your right thigh to sit on. The outer thigh is going to sit on the back of your left upper arm. Some of us might want to play with that right elbow coming in onto the outer right hip to help you in your side crow. But if you can avoid that, avoid that. You're going to hug that elbow in like a chaturanga. You're going to shift yourself forward, look forward, and then the toes might lift off the ground. You'll land that back down. You'll pivot yourself out of that into child's pose, knees together, arms back. Take a cycle of breath. And Another big, deep cycle of breath in and out. Slide your hands forward. Rise up and step back into down dog. Take a cycle of breath. Step your left foot forward inside of your left thumb and ground your back heel like a warrior two. Windmill your way up. Reach your arms wide. Take a breath. As you breathe out, reach your right arm forward. Flip your right heel up, reach, make fists. Pull back into that bowstring, bending the elbow, grounding the back heel, and reverse it. Come upright. 2 more. Reach forward, flip the back heel up so you can get optimal reach. Pull back, reverse. 1 more. Upright. Reach, make that fist, pull back, reverse. Stay in reverse, take a breath in. As you breathe out, cartwheel your hands down to the floor, flip your back heel up, inhale. And your exhale down the long edge of your mat, away around your right foot. Reach your left arm forward in line with your ear. Reach your right arm back in line with your hip. Take a breath in, bend your left knee. As you breathe out, left knee up. And again, like you're pulling on that bowstring, twisting open arm to the left. Carefully devolving that twist with the switch of the arms, the bend of the right knee, the step back, breath. Just like that, 2 more times. Feel it out. Feel out the transition and how much you can slow it down, how much you can create your own resistance. How much you're challenging balance without staying stagnant, but with fluid movement. Now land your hands to the floor. For that last one, take a breath in. As you breathe out, walk your hands up the long edge of your mat, all the way around to your left foot. Turn to face that top edge of your mat and step it back into down dog. Take a cycle of breath. Step your feet about halfway forward. Feet are together. And squat. Again, the hands will be oriented forward on your mat. You're going to pivot your knees to the right. Knees are together. Hands are on the floor, about shoulders width, your fingers spread. You're going to lift your heels. You're going to lift your butt so you're nice and high. And then from that high point, you can start to shift yourself forward. Bend your elbows to create that plateau for the legs to sit on. Outer left side lands on the outer right upper arm. If you need that left elbow in for now, do. If you don't need it, don't use it. You're tipping forward and the toes might lift. Land. Pivot your knees forward. Come down into child's pose, knees together, arms back. Just roll off to one side. Take your legs out from under you. Come to lay down on your back. Gather in your shoulder blades. Widen the feet, let your knees knock in. Reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Take the right elbow on top of the left. Bend your elbows and slide your hands behind your shoulder blades. Reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Toe heel your feet in, narrow. Let your knees knock out wide in the Supta Baddha Konasana. Cross your left elbow over the right elbow. Bend your elbows and slide your hands behind your shoulder blades. Reach your arms back up. Pick up your knees. Your feet on the floor. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just let your right knee drop out to the right. Don't force it to touch the floor. Just let it fall out to the right. Bring your right knee back up so you're standing back onto your right foot. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, let your left knee drop out to the left. Again, you're not forcing it down to land onto the floor, just allowing it to fall on its own. Trying to keep that right knee still pointing up toward the ceiling. Pick the left knee back up. Straighten out one leg at a time. Keep your left hand on your belly. Make a fist out of your right hand, just a light fist. And take your right thumb to your right nostril. You're going to take your index finger, your ring finger and your pinky finger together and place them on your left nostril. So the index finger and the middle finger are still curled in. Take a breath in through both. Open the mouth and let it all out. Seal your left nostril shut and breathe in just through the right. Seal the right nostril shut and pause. Release the left and exhale. Pull the air in just through the left. Seal it shut and pause. Release the right, exhale. 4 more rounds, just like that. Breathe in. Seal and pause. Release the left, exhale. Pull in through the left. Seal and pause. Release the right, exhale. Pull in through the right. Seal and pause. Release the left, exhale. Pull in through the left. Seal and pause. Release the right, exhale. Pull in through the right. Seal, pause. Release the left, exhale. Pull in through the left. Seal and pause. Release the right, exhale. Last cycle, breathe in. Seal, pause. Release the left, exhale. Pull in through the left. Seal and pause. Release the right, exhale. Release your arms down to the floor. Inner line of the arms turned upward, shoulder blades gathered in. Eyes are soft, jaws soft. Heart soft. Belly. Groins. Inner line of the legs. Soles of the feet. Inner line of the arms. Palms of your hands.
beginning to deepen the breath. Taking small movements to bring awareness back to the edges of the body. Taking your time to step your feet to the floor one at a time. And taking time to roll off to one side. Taking your time to push your way up into a seat with the eyes closed. Holding the palms together in front of your heart center. Honoring anything that may have come up throughout your practice. And gratitude for the sharpening of those listening skills. To listen to what the body has to tell you in its infinite knowledge. I thank you all so very much for joining me. I bow to you and namaste.